of those deals that it hit me Friday night. It was kind of going around. I think our little boy gave it to my wife first, and then got me pretty good. And I feel good though. It was just wanted to be able to be smart, not give ourselves a chance of giving it to anybody else because of how contagious this can be. And hopefully I didn't. But passing out game balls, trying to do the fist pump as much as you can. You realize how out of norm it is for me. I'm a big hugger, and so hopefully I feel better and can get back to being normal with these guys because, I don't like this.
Did you feel okay on the sideline?
Yeah, I felt okay. Yeah, I felt good. I mean, I don't want to get too descriptive with you, but we fought through it, and ultimately the guys did a great job. Really proud of them, and I think this is a cool reflection of the coaching staff in general too. And it was a good step in the right direction, and now we got to continue to build on this.
You guys have run pretty well all season, but can you describe just the past 2 weeks? What's taken this group to the level it's at right now?
As far as you talking about just the run game, yeah, I just think guys are executing. I think the runners are really running hard. I think they're pressing it. They're understanding exactly what the intent is. I think Kyron and Blake do a great job. Got to give a lot of credit to Ron Gould. And then also I think, the offensive line obviously has been key and critical. And it's the offensive line, it's the tight ends, it's the receivers. The run game takes all 11. Matthew getting us in and out of the right looks. And so I think we're getting connected. I think we're able to have a little bit of diversity in terms of some of the different things, whether it be personnel or run schemes, where you can go direct downhill or you can be able to stretch people a little bit. So they came out in a lighter grouping on us today when we were in our 13 personnel, and I thought it was really good that we were able to establish the run the way we were, and you have to be able to do those types of things. But I've been really pleased with it, Nate. We got to continue to build on it, but, like I mentioned about Ron, I think Ryan Wendell deserves a ton of credit. Obviously, the players are bringing it to life, and then Scooter Huff with the tight ends, and Yarbs always gets those guys playing their ass off at receiver as well. Yeah, no, they were for artists. I thought he played excellent. I thought he did a great job of, distributing the ball. I thought he made some big-time throws. And I thought he did a great job of when there was some, pressure, being able to keep the ball in play, not take negatives. I think you want to stay ahead of the sticks against a group like this. They do a good job when they get into some of their sub-rushes. And I thought Matthew was outstanding. And I don't necessarily think the numbers always can reflect that. It was cool to see him get another 3 touchdowns, but he was great. I thought he saw the field really well. I thought he threw the ball with accuracy and anticipation. And then, to Nate's question, a lot of the stuff in the run game was a real credit to Matthew getting us in and out of some of the right looks. And he's been outstanding. He's doing a hell of a job. I'm happy for him.
You guys have not faced a lot of third downs the last 2 weeks. What does that show about how your offense is?
Well, it shows how important it is about the early down efficiency. Last week was really rare. Obviously, we had some of the turnovers. It was good to have a clean slate in that regard this week. But, when you can be efficient on those early downs, you eliminate a lot of those pass situations where the defense feels like they can almost get the pen in their hand. And so for us to be able to be the offense that we want to be, we got to continue to take steps in that direction. And to be able to have the balanced run and pass like we've had in the early down efficiency, that's always key and critical.
Sean, all 3 losses this year, you guys have really came back very strong.
Yeah.
The next week. Is that something you sensed today?
It is. It's something I sensed. I thought the guys did a great job. This is a mentally tough group. This is a resilient group. You got to earn it, and I thought they had a great week of preparation. I thought even just the maturity of even some of the stuff where I wasn't around a little bit just because of what I was dealing with, just the way they handle it. These are grown men, and they do such a great job of, this is a player-led team. And really, I can't say enough about what a great job our coaches do. I don't mean that to be minimizing them at all, but we got a lot of really great leaders in that locker room, and I think they take the ownership, the initiative of what we want to be about, and how you ultimately want to be able to respond, not react when we do have some of those setbacks, and this is exactly in alignment with what we wanted, and now we got to continue to build on it.
And just to follow up on what Nate said on the running game, it is all 11. How do you see Blake and Kyron complement each other?
Oh, I think it's that. I think they are complementing each other. I think they're doing a great job. They're similar, but they have some different skill sets. They're both excellent backs that have great ownership and understanding of what we're trying to get done. I think them being able to play off of one another allows them to just be fresher as the season and as games go on. And you could see, Blake pops the 48-yard. It was a great job for us being able to get the removal, and it opens up a backside cut. And then he's got the juice to be able to finish it. But I think Kyron's been excellent. I just think they do a great job of supporting one another. together. And I think the fact that when you have two guys that you can trust as much as them, they're going to be stronger, they're going to be fresher because this is a long season that we go through.
How would you describe the impact Puka had today?
He's outstanding. You know, he was great. I thought the two big in cuts that he caught early on in the game on back-to-back plays were big. You know, they really got us going. And he's, you know, to be able to win on the double move, some of the catches that he's making where, you know, it's a contested catch, but then he's pulling guys in to be able to score. He's a freaking stud. Love Puka. All right. Thank you, guys.
Oh, it's fun. I got great teammates. Only reason anybody's saying something like that about me is because all those guys in there. So I'm appreciative. I love going to work with those guys, and it's fun. I don't play the game for that. I play the game for those guys in there and the respect of those guys and the guys that we compete against. But it's cool.
This team's first 4 touchdowns were to 4 different guys. Can you speak to the balance of this team and how that helps you?
Yeah, we should have had a 5th. I should have hit Tay on that fade too. So want that one back bad. He crushed him. But no, it was good. I mean, I think when we're at our best, we're kind of dictating the terms and spreading the ball around. I thought we had a great plan coming into the day. Obviously executed it really well in and out of the huddle. Great communication. And then our guys up front, I mean, they own the line of scrimmage. And when you do that, we got skill guys that are going to make people pay. And just proud and happy for those guys up front for the way they played.
How do you see it helping to have the 1-2 running back punch that you have?
Well, I think both those guys can do everything we ask, and that's the coolest part is, whoever's in the game, and Ronnie really ran it great at the end of the game too. I got total trust and confidence in all those 3 guys to run any play we have in our offense. There's no, hey, this guy's in, we got to do this, that guy's in, we got to do that. No, we just call our offense, and both those guys, feed off of each other. I mean, they have their unique styles of how they run, but both of them are, playing at a great clip and obviously had big days today.
Were you aware of Sean was not feeling well? And
Oh, yeah.
how did that impact his ability, if at all, to communicate?
No, it was, I think it was a great collaboration on the offensive side of the ball. He wasn't feeling well the last couple of days, and I'm just proud of the way we all kind of came together and attacked this week. I thought Mike did a hell of a job. Really, everybody that was involved did a hell of a job. You score as many points and play like we did on offense today, that takes everybody. And, it was cool with, our head guy down just a little bit, watching everybody kind of rally and do their part and do it a little bit better. And the results were good.
You and Puka got into an early rhythm today. Just, what kind of led to that connection clicking as well as it did?
I think just opportunities. He had opportunities, and I tried to put the ball in a good place, and he made some great plays like he always does. So I got total trust in everybody. I mean, Puka did that today. It could be anybody the next day, and that's the fun part about playing in this offense is, wherever the coverage tells me to go with the football, I'm going to try and go there with it. And just missed on a couple with Tay today. Had some big ones to the tight ends. They were great in the keeper game too. So I don't know. Puka's, a hell of a football player, great player for our team. We're happy that he's with us, and he showed it again today.
So many of these Puka catches are acrobatic or one hand. At this point, does anything he do surprise you, or are you just kind of used to it?
No, I appreciate the hell out of all of them. I mean, it's cool to watch him do his thing. He's a physical player. Just try to put in some good spots for him, and he does unbelievable stuff. Coming down with the football, contested catches. So I don't say that. I wouldn't say I'm surprised, but I do appreciate all of them. I don't sit there and take them for granted. That's for sure.
Next up is Lions, which is you have a history there.
Yeah.
How does it feel to be playing so well going into that particular matchup?
I mean, you hate to hear it, but we got to earn it every single week, and because I played well this week doesn't mean, you're guaranteed to play well the next week. We got to go earn that. We do it every single week. I got a ton of respect for that team. Head coach, everybody, they do a hell of a job and have done a great job the last couple of years. So it'll be a big challenge every time we play these guys. It seems like a good match. So, looking forward to the opportunity of playing on on a big stage against a really good team.
You touched on it a bit already, but when the run game is this lethal, I guess, can you explain kind of just the effect that has when you guys do then call a pass play?
Yeah, I thought we were really disciplined, how we approached the game. They wanted to run small people out there, and we were in 13, and it was just, hey, let's keep running the rock. And we can call all those runs, but if we don't make them work, then they have the upper hand. So a ton of credit to our guys up front, our tight ends, our backs, receivers blocking. They were in small people, and we were in 13. And first couple drives, we just ran it great. So and continue to run it good the rest of the day. So it goes back to a little bit of kind of dictating the terms, and then even in base defense, I thought we ran it well too. So I'm proud of those guys. Cool. Thank you.
We got Blake coming in.
It's your first game in the NFL with 100 yards. And just what was it like to be out there and be a part of, everything that came together on offense today?
Oh man, it was a blessing come true. But that's what we worked on all week. Fixing what we needed to fix from our loss, and we did that. Starting with the offensive line. I mean, they did a phenomenal job. And then when we're 13 personnel, our tight ends, they're blocking their tails off, and receivers are blocking. And it just makes my job, Kyron's job, a lot easier. And so, man, it's a credit to everyone. The coaches, Coach Ron G. It's amazing, man. I love playing in the backfield.
John really talked about the running game is really all 11.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to diminish that when I ask, how do you and Kyron complement each other? How do you push each other?
We love competing. And so when you love competing and you have a partner like I do with Kyron has with me, and really just the running back room in general, we're all super close. And we all want to see each other succeed, big time. And so, when I'm on the sideline and I see Kyron break off and run, I get hyped. And that makes me, when I go in, I want to break off a long one just so we can keep feeding off each other. But, it is all 11, like you said. I mean, Kyron and I wouldn't be doing any of that if it wasn't for everyone else. You know what I'm saying? And so, that's what you love about the game of football. It's truly a team sport. And, that's why, we started playing at 6. And, it's by the grace of God we're still playing.
You've had some runs where it seemed like you were maybe one step, one, move away from breaking a really long one for a touchdown. What was that like today to get past that and run for that daylight?
Yeah, man, it definitely was a lot of fun. Definitely something I've been wanting to do and feel like I've been super close. The line has blocked it really well a couple of times, and it was just up to me to, finish the playoff. But, you just go back to work. Coach always talks about how the work works. And, I go back to work with the guys. I go back to work with, Coach G and my team, and, it paid off today. But, the day's over now. Now it's on to the next. You know what I'm saying? We still have a lot of football ahead of us, and, I'm excited to see how much better we can actually get, because we can get a lot better.
With Sean sick, he complimented the job that the offensive staff did in his absence. What did you see yesterday, I guess, preparing for the game with how everyone else stepped up?
Leaders, leaders, and that's what I love, about this organization. Right, we have such a great leader in Coach McVay, but right underneath of him, Coach LaFleur, Coach Shieldhouse, Coach Yarbs, Coach Ron G. Everyone's a leader in their own way, and they know how to, handle things when Coach McVay wasn't able to be there. Right, the culture remains the same, the team remains the same, and we don't budge. We just work around it, and man, they did a phenomenal job at making sure myself and the guys were ready to go out there and compete today. And Coach Sean, as I knew he would show up even if he wasn't feeling well.
Matthew Stafford hasn't had a lot of potent run games to play with throughout his long career. So just how does it feel to be a part of giving that opportunity to him, and how do you see him maybe feed off of and play even better with that?
I mean, he's amazing. You heard the crowd. MVP. That's something I believe in. He might not say it, but I mean, he's a phenomenal quarterback, man. He's done a phenomenal job this year at just, leading the team, being that field general. I really enjoy playing in the backfield with him. And, just being able to get the run game going opens up everything, just like, when you're passing the ball deep, then it opens up the run. They just go back and forth. And, when you can play that type of ball like we were able to go out there and play today, it's hard to stop.
What was going through your mind as that long touchdown run was unfolding, and when that play was called? Did you have an idea that if executed correctly, it might be that
Yeah, we had an idea. The offensive line, Matthew, Kyron, myself, we talked about, this play, throughout the week and where it possibly might hit. And, a couple runs a day hit this way, that way. They were going a little bit everywhere. But, when I got the handoff and I felt the defense flow and, the line was connected, kind of pushing them, and I was able to, put my foot in the ground and hit it. I knew I needed to break a long one sooner than later. And, it just happened to be that moment where the safety, kind of slipped a little bit. And I was able to just, turn on the jets a little bit. But, man, it was great, man. All glory to God. Thank you.
We got Kobie Turner coming in.
After the game last week, you said that you feel sorry for whoever you guys play next year, this team would respond. What did you see throughout the week and then today?
Yeah, I think there's a uptick in our urgency. We always bring the energy. We always have the focus. But I think we were a little bit more urgent this week, and that's something that we're going to look to continue to carry throughout the rest of the season.
You guys early on, they were able to get you in some passing plays before you settled in. What do you feel like, changed for you guys or let you kind of adjust within the game to shut them down?
Yeah, I think we were able to settle in. I think we did a good job all day today being able to knock out the run. And then we knew they were going to try to get 85 the ball. They have a couple receivers out, and 85 was already their number one target. So a couple of those screens, they did a lot of those screens. And then they're able to make some big plays. It's the NFL. Everyone's going to be able to make some plays, but it's about how you respond. It's about how you play that next snap. And obviously, a lot of the first quarter didn't really look like us or didn't really feel like us defensively. But we were able to turn that around and ultimately, come out and play the ball like we're used to playing.
Kobie, of all three losses this year, all three had a lot of self-inflicted wounds. And next week, after all three losses, you guys played really strong.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that today? Did you know that earlier this week?
I mean, the amount of confidence that I have in all of these guys and the way that we came in on Monday. We had a longer Monday last week, and you could just see it in the eyes of all of the guys. You could see it in the way that each person was, maybe spending a little bit extra time in the hot tubs, cold tubs, getting their body right, a little bit extra time in their film, really making sure that we were locked in on our keys. And so we got to do a better job of not putting ourselves in that position and carrying that over each week. But I think we have done a really great job of that. I think the urgency just ticked up just a little bit more. And that's where, again, we're going to look to continue that for the rest of the season. And we know what the standard is. The standard is the standard, and we got to hold that, hold that standard throughout the week.
What was it like seeing Nate get that interception and also being able to punctuate the celebration as well?
Yeah, no, that was exciting. You're used to seeing him force the turnovers in the form of punching. But, we had a game going, and I turned around, and Nate was dancing with the ball, or like running around with the ball. And you could just see the amount of energy that all of those guys, obviously all of us guys, we love Nate. He's a great leader. He's a great player. And he just brings so much positive energy to this team. And, couldn't be prouder to have him as one of our captains. And, yeah, being able to spike it, I didn't know I was going to be called to do that. He was just like, spike that. And I was like, I guess so. And I jumped up. I don't know how the form was. Then I lost the ball, and I was trying to get the ball back to him. I was like, he needs the ball. Where did the ball go? But, yeah, could not be prouder of him. He's playing some really good ball for us, and he's leading this team the right way. Appreciate you guys.
Appreciate it.
After giving up that touchdown on the first drive, what changed? Because we're a completely different game from there.
Yeah, I think it kind of motivated us. We know that was unacceptable. We just started playing our keys better. We just locked in. But, yeah, giving them the first touchdown like that on the first drive, we never do stuff like that. So we just woke us up. So something that we need, I feel like.
On those lines, last week you talked about the need for a wake-up call after Carolina. How do you feel like guys bought into that and responded throughout the week up to today?
I definitely think we responded well. Preparation, everything, attention at practice, and just reading our keys the right way. But I like the approach that we took and got the job done. So.
Were you aware that Sean wasn't feeling good well and didn't travel with the team?
I was aware of that last night when we didn't have a team meeting. I was kind of worried because we always have team meetings, and then we didn't have one because of that. So I'm glad that, he made a trip and was able to be on the sideline. But, yeah, I hate to see that.
You guys are so used to Nate creating takeaways by punching the ball out. What was it like seeing him get the pick and then just the celebration you guys all had as a group?
It was great, man. He worked, I almost cursed, but he worked so hard, you know what I'm saying? And he always punches the ball out and stuff like that. And finally he got the interception that he was working so hard for, man. I love to see him, be successful like that. So, like, celebrating with him, those are moments that we ground for and we practice for. So it was great seeing it. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Byron. Appreciate it.